Hello, my friends, and welcome to Doing Life Together, episode 64. And tonight, we're going to spend just a little bit of time saying, okay, so we've talked about so many health hacks. Where do you start first? All right, such a great question, and we all have it, right? So good to see you. All right. Before we launch into our topic tonight, I do want to remind you that for the next 2 weeks, I will not be coming on for Doing Life Together, as I am committed to just enjoying the holidays and being so present while my boys are home from college and my other boys are home from school. And it's just a really special time together. So, and we also get to welcome some visitors over the holidays. So super excited. All right. Also, my wellness interview series has kicked off, and thank you to each of you who have sent feedback and said, oh my goodness, these experts are amazing, and they are. So this is a free series. You can plug in now, and you just go to divinewellnesstransformation.com/sign-up. So divinewellnesstransformation.com/sign up, put a dash between sign and up. All right. So it's free. You can pop in and special gift coming for each of you who are opted in for the series. So have your eye out for that. If you decide to jump in right now, that's perfect. Okay. So we've got some powerful interviews going out, and if you've missed them, no stress, just jump in. I promise you, just jump in now and take advantage of this series, because it's been an awesome investment of time just bringing to you people who I learn from and who mentor me and have helped me on my wellness journey. So Divine Wellness Transformation.com/sign up, put a dash between sign and up, and you can register there. All right. Hello. Good to see you. All right. Put in the chat where you're coming in from, which state, if you're here in America, or what country. I know I have several of you over in Australia who get to check in, and it's fun getting to hang out with people all around the world, not just America. Super fun. Okay. So if you are on a wellness journey or an anti-aging journey or a health hack journey, welcome. I think it's amazing that we live in 2024, almost 2025, and we've learned a lot about the human body. And I've just been thinking about the different teachings that have gone even through my life, right? And so in my youth, the huge craze was fat-free everything, fat-free sour cream, fat-free crackers, fat-free, 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 fat-free. And I think it missed the mark. And so I'm so grateful to people who are teaching super sound nutrition right now. And I don't know, just what we know now, and even stuff that is coming to light that I've been studying for 2 decades, and now it's getting talked about, which is super exciting to me. For instance, one of the things that I studied when my boys, well, honestly, probably when I was pregnant with Jake and even maybe a little before, I was beginning to really surround myself with people who had more wellness knowledge than I did. And I also had the opportunity of growing up with a grandmother. I didn't know how cool she was then, but she was very cutting edge actually on wellness all those years ago. And now I look back at the things that she said and taught. And, sometimes teenagers were kind of crazy. I had to go learn it my way, but really have landed to recognize how much wisdom she had. And I'm grateful for that, because that definitely influenced things. Like, for instance, my mom, love my mom, and she passed on in 2018, and just so grateful for her. And one of the things, my paternal, my dad's mom, was very influential in my life, and we lived 2 miles from them, and they helped with the farming operation. And so she, although certainly not a perfect woman. None of us are, right? But she just had so much wisdom. And I know she also prayed like crazy for her kids and grandkids. And I believe we sometimes hear a grandmother's prayers, like just the power there. Of course, parents praying too. But if you are a grandparent and you're wondering, do my prayers matter? I truly know to my core that my grandma was just such a prayer warrior. She didn't talk about it a lot, but enough that I know. And so one of the things is she was one of 13 children, and her mom lived to be 106 and was an immigrant over from the Netherlands. And so she taught my mom how to like do things more naturally, because I don't think that was exactly how my mom was raised. And so she really encouraged mom to breastfeed and just so many things. And it just speaks to me again, the power of the people in our life. And sometimes you're the people, you get to be that voice. And sometimes it takes courage, because sometimes it feels like swimming upstream on sharing some of this. So sorry guys, I'm like, anyone else like, anyway, okay, we will. So thinking about, okay, where are our most powerful moves as we move into the new year? By the way, I have another side note, and it is, I am going to be doing an emotional freedom 2.5 hour workshop. I'm super excited about this. It is something I've never had the opportunity to train at this depth, my journey, but this has been huge. How many of you know that you maybe live under a lot of guilt? I'm not enough. Oh, I always mess up. I did that wrong. How come I didn't know not to do that better? Oh, goodness, how did I not see that? And we're just constantly guilt, shame. How many of you maybe live in a lot of grudges? You walk through life knowing you hold grudges, knowing that you feel unforgiveness or bitterness towards somebody who's hurt you in the past. And emotions are such a real part of our human journey. And if we allow them, they have so crazy much power in how we show up in life. And so mark your calendar. It's the day before my birthday, January 25th, 2025. It's going to start at 2 p.m. Central through 5:30 p.m. It will be live. So there won't be a recording, and it will be free. So I would just be so honored to have you there. But this has been such a big piece of my wellness journey, huge, massive piece of my wellness journey. And it truly is like an onion, right? Like you feel like, oh my goodness, I've unpacked so much, I've let so much go, all of that. And then you get an opportunity to go deeper and go through more of the layers and just get to embrace that, right? So anyway, so July 25th, 2025, 2 p.m. Central through 5:30. And I would just be super honored to have you on. And so go, I think that's a Saturday. So just go mark your calendar right now so you don't double book. It's going to be super powerful. So I'm looking forward to that. All right. So when we're thinking about 2025 and our next cut on wellness, I think it's important that we first assess, where are we feeling like we're lacking in wellness? Like what areas are you feeling you need some support with? So for instance, let me get you started, and then it's always more fun when you play along. So if you would just, if you're catching the replay, throw in the comments, like what area of health will help you live life more fully in 2025. So maybe it's your energy. Who here would love to have more bandwidth, I call it, more energy just to do the things that you like to do, whether that's spend more time with your grandkids or be able to be more involved in, just whatever energy. I see this popping up as a top one, even in people who really feel they're super healthy. Because I know some of you, many of my tribe, we're health nuts. There's a reason, you're in my circle because we have a lot in common, I dare say. So sometimes we're super healthy, but is it energy and bandwidth that you want to grow in? Maybe there's something specific going on. And I do want to take a minute to encourage you to get your blood work, and preferably do it with a holistically minded doctor, because there's the standard panels of blood work, which is a good start. But working with somebody who really is getting into the core of issues, I think that it's really powerful. Now, mind you, I don't like going and getting my blood work done. I don't like them sticking that needle in, and it just is not my favoriteest part. But it has revealed deficiencies so that I know better how I can support my body. Because the truth is, we live here on planet Earth. It's a pretty toxic soup, like it or not, right? And so our body has to deal with different things than it would have had to deal if we were living 150 years ago. So get your blood work done. I think that's always just a good thing. And your baseline. So I know most of us don't love doctors and whatnot, but find someone who's holistically minded and do that. All right. The second huge thing is nutrition. I feel like and when I say nutrition, yes, I'm talking about what we eat, but more specifically, I'm actually talking about nutrients. I know that I've been guilty of underestimating the importance of nutrients. There's so many cool things out there. I'm a huge fan of red light therapy, PEMF therapy, grounding, all these things. But the truth is, if we're missing the raw materials that our body actually needs to be able to support our hormones, to support the thyroid, to support all these things, you can do all the other stuff and it's just not going to move the needle. So looking at core nutrients and how can you get that in your body, I think it's much more preferable in a more food form. But also, I'm a little cautious about, and we do buy some of our supplements on Amazon, and so it's not like we don't do any there. But my caution is like a lot of supplements can be contaminated with heavy metals or other contaminants. And so while you think you're taking something to support your body, you really need to trust the brand and know that it's being tested. So like I have certain brands that I trust, and I think that's important. So some of you have gotten my little supplement list, and you're going to see at the top are these green pills, or now I've switched to the green powder from the same company. Very high standard, and it's real food, and it's power packed with raw materials, with nutrients. And when I have had some issues, almost always, because I am pretty healthy, right? Like I'm pretty health conscious, it's actually been like a core nutrient issue. So for instance, not completely, there's other factors for sure. But, like when my iron got low and I was exhausted and my ferritin levels were a 2 and it was not pretty, right? And then that, of course, can impact your thyroid, and your thyroid is closely tied to your progesterone. And when your progesterone is low, you have heavy bleeding. Like it's all this cyclical stuff. But the fact is, I, as a woman, need to make sure I'm getting high quality iron at this phase in life. Thyroid, I think I shared with you guys, iodine. Like this is a fascinating study. And I hope to be able to interview some of the doctors who are really forefront of the power of iodine and how involved it is, number one, in thyroid health. Like that's huge. And then not only thyroid health, but breast health, I believe it's ovarian, prostate, like all of these glands really need high quality iodine. And when you study that out, you find that selenium is often recommended as well. And so it's just I think it's safe to say, as humans, just make sure you're actually getting the nutrients. And if you're just eating a salad and a chicken breast every day, yeah, you're getting some nutrients, but I think it's going to take a little supplementation to actually make sure you're getting the level you need. I've also found in my experience that those of us who are high achievers, like we've got a lot going on in life and we, are juggling a lot of balls, whatever it is, maybe higher levels of stress by choice for many of us or not by choice, doesn't matter. You are going to be consuming more minerals to support that. So if you want to live at a higher level, then you got to make sure that your raw nutrients are there to support you. And minerals are also huge. And by the way, in my interview series, we're going to be talking a little bit about this with some of the different experts. So again, be sure to plug in. It's free. And I promise you do want to hop in, okay? Because there's something kind of fun coming up here for everybody who's in. And so I'll leave it at that. Okay, so nutrients is huge, and protein. So the more experts I interview, the more people I talk to on wellness, most everyone's deficient in protein, and it's very necessary, especially speaking to my peers, women who are similar to my age, but men too. And so those are huge. What is your protein intake? Look into this. It's generally among the people I follow, and it's pretty much said like the minimum requirements are not optimal. And I think we see that with a lot of things. Another thing I've been doing a lot of research on, because I'm getting to this point, and I want to do my research now before I'm like, okay, I need this. And that is hormone replacement. It got a really bad name. Many of us are moms, probably chose never to go on it because there was this whole thing about it could cause breast cancer and whatnot. A lot has been done to check out the validity of that study and the more nuances of it. And so just speaking to my perimenopause, menopausal, or postmenopausal lady friends, that get a good doctor who actually knows what they're doing with bioidentical hormones. It does seem to me that there's a lot of space there. And then of course, another thing that we know for us as we age, if you like the anti-aging train, is you've got to build muscle. So muscle is what keeps your hormones going strong. It keeps your metabolism going strong. And again, there was a day when women were mostly focused on just aerobic, running, more like Orange Theory, get your heart rate in this thing. And aerobic is important for various aspects, but it can also trigger heightened cortisol levels. So it's just such an integral puzzle. But what I'm coming to in my research is just that building muscle is one of the best things you can do. Fun fact for all my fellow high school athletes who maybe you were really good about building muscle when you were young, I've actually learned that muscle, even though it might be a few decades back, is still working for you. And so just an encouraging word there. Okay, iodoral. Iodoral. That's a type of iodine. I'm not familiar. So I love that you're doing that. I just have found that to be a really interesting study, especially if you find yourself dealing with a lot of thyroid issues. It's worth looking into. It's a raw material that our body, not just our thyroid, but our thyroid gets kind of first dibs on it. But iodine is so critically important. So once you get those main things, then we get to start adding nuances that can really help. And you've heard me talk about get outside. Sunshine is way more than vitamin D. Way more than vitamin D. Like so many of us, we take supplement vitamin D and then we go outside, our body, our skin, there's virtually no skin exposed, and we're missing all of the processes that sunlight is part of. And it's amazing. And we've really been put in a place to kind of fear the sun because of skin cancer. There's so much more to the story. Okay. There's so much more. One of the things, just fun fact about sunlight, is when you see the sunrise and the sunset, you get a lot of red light. That they're very higher in red light than like the midday sun. And red light helps prevent burning. So it helps your body better process the UVB rays, like if you go out midday. So anyway, there's a lot to be smart about, but sunlight, getting your feet on the ground. I know it's winter now throughout much of the US, and it's cold out there. And so maybe you're not able to go put your feet on the ground, but I sleep on a grounding mat. And there's some mixed research on this, I don't know. So I'm not just like absolutely get yourself a grounding mat, but I do sleep on one and I think it's been good. I also try to sleep on natural, like we have more natural fiber bed and stuff. So that's another piece. But yeah, so then we can get into like nuances and biohacking. So how do you biohack? How do you reverse age? And I have been blown away. I started getting more wrinkles than I would like to admit in probably my 30s for sure. And I don't like them. I do not like them. And I don't feel comfortable putting Botox in my body right now. Like it's not something that I am choosing to do. You guys all get to make your own choices. And I know it's extremely popular, even for 20-year-olds and up. But for me personally, I am on a mission to say, how am I able to support my body to not only slow that train, but my goal is to reverse that train. And I will tell you, while I still have wrinkles, I will tell you, I can see such a dramatic improvement with some of the things that I am doing on the anti-aging. First of all, I do love light therapy on my skin, and I feel like that has been helpful. I mean, I do a lot of things actually, and it's hard to know, okay, what is helping, but I can promise you, like, even my kids are like, yeah, mom, actually, you're looking younger. And I'm like, wow. When your boys tell you that, you're like, oh, okay, that's cool. But it's not without intentionality. I will just give a shout out. If you have not found a good, clean skincare, I love the Norwex, the new Norwex skincare. I've seen a lot of improvements when switching to that. And I love how clean the ingredients are. And so, I mean, if you're looking for something that way, that one is, I'm really loving it. And hey, while I'm there, I'll do a quick Norwex plug. Join me in sharing Norwex. If you want more income for your family, it's an income vehicle. And it has been obviously game-changing for our family and so many of my team members in being able to earn income by sharing amazing, clean, game-changing, I would say life-changing products. So if you're thinking about becoming a consultant, do it. Like, there's really no downside. You can, if you're working with someone, get with them. If I'm your gal, message me. It's just, as you go into the new year, I believe it's very smart to have your own business. It's kind of like a nice plan B to build out, but also it's got a lot of benefits. So I digress from that. So we've got red light therapy, PEMF therapy. I'm currently in a peptide course. So I'm learning more about peptides, which, wow, I think that's like a total cheat course, cheat code, not course. It's not a cheat course, cheat code. And then your inside. If you are a stressed out basket case, like, I think, meaning like you're always anxious, you're always feeling like you're not enough, you're always, maybe you're down, maybe you're whatever, our inside game does show out externally. And another piece of that inside game is once you get on top of all this crud, which, oh my word, that's okay. Remember January 25th, 2025, 2 p.m. Central, you're going to want to be there. It's going to be raw. It's going to be real. And I'm going to be sharing with you so many powerful breakthroughs for me on the inside job. Because a person will feel much happier if you can get on the other side of all the junk. That's really good. And B, it does show externally. I'm convinced that when we're holding on to toxic emotions, we tend to hold on to toxic weight. I just think that our emotional status is often mirrored at many levels with our physicality. Did I mention the speaker series? Because one of my interviews, we go deep on that piece, actually, maybe two of them. Anyway, it's just so good. All right, so where to start? Just start somewhere. Filter your water. That's another biggie. Fluoride has actually been getting some press finally. Hallelujah. And the studies that have been known for some time are finally getting talked about. And be very careful what you put in your body on a toxic load. If you assume nope, it's fine, I'm sure it's fine, everyone's doing it, I would encourage you to do your research. Even if you think, yeah, everyone's doing it, it's just what we do. That's why you want to surround yourself with wellness-oriented people. So one of the things that we've done for many years is we have tried our best to filter out the fluoride from our home drinking water. It's hard. It's actually very hard to filter it out. It would be far easier if they just did not add it to our water supply. And if people want it, they can certainly supplement with it. You can go get fluoride drops if you are on board with that, but not something that I want in my water personally. Chlorine has a lot of downside, and it's so easy to filter chlorine out of your water. It's not hard. And that alone can make a huge difference in your health, specifically just the air you breathe when you shower, does all sorts of things with that, what chlorine mixes with, and it's just not helpful. So water quality, I think, is always worth looking at. Evaluate your toxic load. If you, for instance, I'm not a medical professional. You guys always know that. I'm just sharing the journey, but I actually am a medical professional, physical therapy, but this is not I'm not trained in all of this. I'm just a fellow human being on the journey, and doing life together means we just talk about it, but it's really on you to do your research. Don't do it just because Sonia said so. It's really about you following through. Do your research, #do your research. I can't say it enough. And for you young parents out there who are raising littles, oh my goodness, one of the things I'm most grateful for, I'll restate that, is the fact that when I was a young mama, I had some quiet voices. They were not loud voices. They weren't everywhere. They were actually hard to find, but just people in my life who planted a small seed, and I decided to go and research it. We're going to leave it at that. There's a lot of things to research when you're raising babies, lots. And I'm so beyond grateful that I did my research and that I swam upstream against what was considered all normal, all fine, and I made different decisions. Now, I will also be completely authentic. As a parent, I've made a lot of mistakes too. I certainly have not researched everything. I have not done everything right. And my kids can pay for therapy breakthroughs and all of that as they work through any traumas that I, as their mama, have unintentionally saddled them with. And can we just be honest with that, right? I have done, and I know that Willie and I, our hearts are for our children, and we have certainly poured out and done the best we could with what we have and had. And we didn't do it perfectly. And that's okay. right? So as parents, like we have to give ourselves grace when we missed it, when we didn't hit a home run, and just move forward and be powerful moving forward from here. So yeah, what else would you say you're doing for your health? What are your primary things? Oh, and walking is powerful. Like just consistently walking has so many benefits. And women, we got bone density to think about. So we've got hormone replacement therapy on the bone density thing does show up. I'm learning more again about the role of peptides. That's a kind of the Wild West right now. So I can't speak in depth about that at the moment, but looking into that. But then heavy weight bearing exercises and walking like getting that pressure on your bones helps keep your bone density as well. So it's good to see you guys. Amen, sister. I see you in the comments there. And there's a few topics that I'm not as free to discuss, completely openly here, or I would. But the thing is if you wish you had done research on something and you didn't, you just get to be the seed planter for someone else to help them consider that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we can't go back and redo time. At least at this point, I don't think that's possible, but we can still do our research, and then equip this next upcoming generation and be the person. And I want to say again, grandparents, you hold a really important role. I know it's easy. I would imagine, I'm not a grandparent yet, but I would imagine as a grandparent, it's easy to feel a little useless, like you're not the one raising those well, sometimes you are, but very often, you have to kind of take a back seat and honor your children as they raise their children. And there's some truth in that. And sometimes if you're retired, you actually have the time to do some research, whereas a young parent who's both parents working full time, and they're trying to figure out, how to raise this little one, whatever, they don't have necessarily the time. So I just don't ever want to underestimate the role of grandparents, because I think it's actually critical. And so you might feel a little helpless, and you can only do so much unless you are, for some reason, raising your grandchild. But your voice matters. Now, how you deliver it, I think, is really super important, right? Like you can have the same message delivered two ways. One might land and one might ricochet all over the place and cause problems. So yeah, I mean, is there something as humans of how we get to land our communication and come humbly? And, yeah, I believe that's a really important thing. So, oh, that's so interesting. So walking has been so beneficial in my cancer journey. Can you elaborate a little bit more in the comments? Like, what have you specifically seen about walking? And then in regards to recovering and restoring after a cancer journey. And speaking of walking, weighted vests are also great for bone density and just building some more strength. And they're not that much money. You can go on Amazon. I think on my Amazon store, if you go to sonyasfaves.com, it's SONYAS as in Sam, F as in Frank, A, V as in Victor, ES.com. So some people say faves with no E, it's with an E. But anyway, I've got a walking vest on there that I really like. If you live in super cold weather and you're worried about ice and things like that, get a walking pad. Walking does have so many huge, huge benefits. Movement in general. And then my latest thing, and I go through phases, right? Like I wish I could say I'm always just golden on everything. But my latest thing is, okay, when I get up to grab a drink, whatever, like stopping and doing some squats right then. Like any movement you can incorporate into your day is a win. Okay, I have stage 4 metastatic melanoma. Walking and being out in nature has given me peace and positivity. And this is the best part. and I am now in remission. I love that. Crush the chemicals in the house. Okay. So, praise God that you're in remission. That's so beautiful. And being outdoors, yeah, it's just got so many things. I love that. Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, as we go into the new year, I just invite you to say, what small changes can I make? What can I get intentional with? So, like, one of my latest intentions is to get so serious about my green drink every morning, and then so serious about my protein. And my favorite way to get protein, I know some of you are vegan and vegetarian. I am not. My favorite protein on the planet, I think, currently, is a good ribeye steak. So I salt it, put it in the fridge, let that salt kind of go in, because we do need salt, right? That's another piece. Some people have gotten so scared of salt, and we need our magnesium's huge. That's another one that I didn't. And then potassium, your electrolytes. And so anyway, but yeah, so getting more protein, I have to be so careful. It's hard to get in enough protein. I have to be super focused on that to make sure. And then just making sure I'm supplementing what I'm probably not getting just through my food. So again, if you want to go to thedetoxgirl.com. So thedetoxgirl.com, detoxgirl.com. And that will bring you where at the top you can sign up for the wellness interview series going on right now, free. Listen, it's so good, so good. And then I use real salt as well. And I love my steak. Actually, red meat, obviously most of us have been told how awful it is for 2 decades? That's been the messaging. So when I went carnivore for 8 months and I actually began researching, I was floored by the number of nutrients and things that we can live on in a steak. All right. So amazing. Incredible. I think oftentimes if you add that in, you'd be shocked at what happened to your energy. And I find that when I will eat that ribeye, is my favorite because I get the fat that way. And again, I was raised like you would do the leanest of the lean, you do a sirloin or, really a lean steak. And I find that ribeye with more of the fat actually keeps me full. And then I'm not craving the crud, going to the pantry, looking for sugar and brownie mixes and all of that. So if we're just getting in our nutrients, like if you have a solid green drink, and then you're getting in your protein and I believe good fats. And fats is another thing, right? We were told that animal fats were the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst. And so everyone shifted to seed oils. I talked about it briefly last week. And guess what now is coming out is that those seed oils are so unstable and can get so toxic. And at least in a lot of the research I'm seeing, it's actually being recommended to look at beef tallow as a cooking fat. Butter, butter makes all things better, right? And I know that I grew up, lard was really commonly used. And so anyway, it's just interesting. And with health information, more and more, I'm so glad for the voices out there who are being bold, because in many of these movements, like the fat-free movement, for instance, the sugar movement, for instance, like follow the money. Follow who's funding the advertising, who's funding all the things. So yes, all right, butter and beef tallow, amen, amen. So I think you and I are pretty aligned probably in what we're consuming these days. I love that. And I love that you're in remission. And I do believe that when we do these things, and red light, you guys get in the speaker series. I am interviewing Jonathan Otto on red light, among other things. And you need to see that. Like, red light is phenomenal at all the things it does in our body. Now, if you can't afford a red light, fine, go out and watch the sunrise and watch the sunset. God put them in the sky free for us all. And they do have natural red lights. So it's not something like I have a red light. I have actually over 10 red lights I own. I have been studying red light therapy for over a decade. I've been using this and I think it's amazing. I really do. So it's great if it's in your budget. If it's not in your budget, like I said, God is amazing. He puts that. So yeah, if you're not in that interview series, I know I keep pounding this, but seriously, just go to thedetoxgirl.com, sign up and just get plugged in. And then trust me, it's going to be good. Okay. So don't fret about anything. Just get plugged in now so that you can watch the remainder interviews. Each one is up for 48 hours and just go watch it. So good. So good. And then also on the Detox Girl. Oh, actually, I was thinking I had my supplement list there, but I'm not sure I do. But I've got some fun free gifts for you there that you can go check out and download as well. All right, that's it for tonight. I got a little long-winded tonight because this isn't a topic I'm so passionate about. And I know even if you've been feeling sluggish and sickly, and maybe you're getting every bug that goes through town, or maybe you are dealing with the C word or skin issues or all the things, here is what I know to my core, and it's actually why I'm doing this series. God created you in his image. God created your body to be able to heal itself. When you get a cut, unless you have some immune thing or whatever, you get a cut, your body heals it. That's what our body's made to do. So I just want to speak out hope. That's always my message. Is it can feel hopeless when you're facing up against a health challenge. It's not hopeless. And in today's world, there's doctors who actually make their entire business about getting down to the core issue and stopping this madness. Sorry, I get a little passionate, of just throwing pharmaceuticals to cover symptoms, of which have a long list of side effects, so that we can throw more symptom covering things and not get down to the core issue of why is the human body not functioning and healing and restoring and doing what it was created to do. So this is just speaking life, love, hope, belief over every single one of you. Do not give up hope. If you're in one of those places, I have been, like you just are like, I don't know where to turn, pray. Prayer is one of the most powerful things. Well, it is. I mean, it is the most powerful. It's just incredible. Plug into your creator, talk with him, and watch what happens. Ask him to show you the next step. And it's incredible. I have so many stories where I forgot to pray because we get all in our head and we're like looking, panic, all of that. And I finally got to the end of myself. Usually that's what it took, because I had to like get to the end of me. I hope that's not always the case. Like I want to pray before I get to the end of me. And then it's just like, God, he loves to answer your prayers. So whether you believe in God or Jesus and you're like, oh, Sonia, you're just so crazy and old fashioned. It's the most incredible life-changing thing at every level, including your health, my health. So with that, have a beautiful Christmas, a happy new year. I will be checking back in 2025. So we'll be jumping back into doing life together in 2025. So I will see you then. In the meantime, get in this wellness series. I'll get you more details on my January 25th emotional freedom course. It's free. It's going to be so powerful. I hope you'll join me for that. And you can always go to thedetoxgirl.com and find all the fun stuff there as well. And if you need Norwex, I'm your Norwex girl, right? So I love Norwex as well. That's just such an easy way to clean up the toxins in your home and start creating healthier air and a much healthier home. With that, we will wrap it up tonight. God bless you all, and we'll see you for sure in 2025. If not, before.